Okay. Holy smoking pipe Padre coming back at you. Here's another video. Yes. Okay, let's see if we can get that there. And can we move this one here a little bit closer? Oh no. Okay, well. Okay. Okay. Old Who's Smoking Pipe Padre coming back at you, and I'm smoking a little bit of Blue Mountain. Blue Mountain, yes. With a wonderful cup of coffee. Ah, not bad. Okay. Yeah, all right. How y'all doing? I'm trying out some new things here, clearly. And let's see if I can do this. Can I do that? Okay. Well, I guess that's just the way it's going to have to be for now. Okay, so today is the 22nd of April. 7 days after tax day. It doesn't even seem like it's come and gone already. So I hope you're doing fine and the IRS isn't after you. Okay, good. All right, so tonight like I said, I'm doing some Blue Mountain. I finally opened this about a couple minutes ago, Blue Mountain, and got my beautiful applewood, Dunhill applewood, cherry wood. There you go. And I'm using my new Sennheiser MKH50 along with my Sennheiser MKH416. Again, special number in my life, 416. Maybe one of these days if I haven't already, I'll tell you about 416. Okay. So, how are you all doing? Let's see, I'm working on some new video lighting, as you can probably tell in the background, just some cyan and orange, or was it, let's see, cyan and teal. Yeah, cyan, I think right there, and teal over there. So, classic colors in lighting, I hear. So, we'll just see what it's like in post. So I let's see. I just wanted to say first of all that spring has sprung up here in the mountains, and the snow is quickly receding. And again, spring is here. Now we may get some. There's some forecast, perhaps, of some spring snow shower this coming weekend, but that remains to be seen. That's delicious. Okay. So, as you can see by the video, I think I put a little video up here of the snow receding right outside my door here. And let me tell you, spring is pretty messy. Yeah. Spring's pretty messy. So, it's I'm grateful that we got through this winter. And it's really awesome that I don't think we had hardly any roof damage like we've had the last 2 years. We were lucky this year, I think. So you probably can hear that. That little breathing in the pipe there. I kind of packed it a little tight there, pipe pals. Pardon my plosives there. I'm not using a windscreen. I don't like windscreens because it seems to muffle everything, but I probably should. If I was doing more of a voiceover, or if I was doing more professional recording, I probably would use a windscreen. But I'm just gonna let it go all natural. Yeah, I think I said in a couple of videos that I really liked this combination of coffee and Blue Mountain. It's quite tasty. So it's about going on 8:30, and normally on a day like today has been a very, very busy day for me. We are now kind of in our third stage. We've got probably like 7 different stages of this renovation in our church, replacing the floor, and I'll roll some video of that. As I was telling somebody in another video, I said that, kind of when they removed all the carpeting, and we had an asbestos problem that needed to be resolved, and that was abated like 2 weeks ago. And then last week, the carpenters came in and they started tearing out all of the old carpet, and actually the abatement people did all of that, but the ship's carpenters, as I call them, went in and started really fortifying and fixing the floor. There was a lot of problems in that floor. When I got here 5 years ago, it was the roof and the floor that gave me the most concern. And the floor, I knew that if I decided that I was going to try to fix that floor, that was going to be a Olympic event. No doubt about it. Have to remove all of the pews and every stick of furniture, and just had to do a lot of, just have to bite the bullet and do it, because the floor really, it had some real serious compromises in it now. It hadn't quite caved in, but I think everybody knew that it was just a matter of time. And then we found out just last week that there were a lot of structural anomalies that had been overlooked and neglected for probably a couple of decades at least, maybe longer. And this was the project that I was kind of dreading, because I knew it was going to be pretty messy. Just like springtime, it's going to be pretty messy. But I'm happy to say that like we're now on the third phase, where we're actually laying down the stone, which is wonderful. The carpenters certainly had to come in and fortify the floor to receive the stone, and now it's we redid our altar platform, and we'll be getting a new beautiful altar soon. And but it needed a lot of supports. When they went in there, and they're kind of going, why is this floor so spongy? Why does it kind of sink or sag in certain areas? Why does it feel kind of weak and anemic, and when you stand here as opposed to over there? And they took up the top floor and went into the subfloor, and they said, oh my gosh. So there were joists and girders missing. Well, that really brings me a lot of confidence in the past work that was done here. But anyway, so we finally got the structural supports. Basically, you had to reframe a lot of stuff to make it sound again. Yeah. So anyway, and then we were also, call me crazy, but we have a beautiful balcony that has remained closed for probably 15 years because maybe 20 years. I guess part of it had to do with the old original stairs were extremely narrow and very, very steep. And I think the insurance company said, you got to close that thing because that's just an accident waiting to happen. So long story short, I said, you know what? It's wasted floor space. Let's open it up again. Let's get it fixed. So the people that were, kind of like trying to help out, they said, well, we agree it should be remedied and fixed so it can be used again, because it's not doing any good just sitting there, sitting up there in the air like that. It needs to be addressed and fixed. So we're putting in a new staircase. We're going to be reinforcing it if we need to. So hopefully we're going to open it up probably a little bit tomorrow and just see what the subfloor is like up there too. So we're hoping it's not a nightmare. We're hoping it's sound and dry like the altar area was. It was sound and dry. It was, although it was it wasn't properly supported in the foundation. So they put in new footings, new supports. So now it's high and dry, and it's it's just very sound. My carpenter, my general contractor, and my project manager said that if you needed to, you could drive a fully loaded dump truck on that platform and it isn't going anywhere, which is what I wanted to hear. So, and after seeing what they did, I believe them. So anyway, so those were some of the things that needed to be fixed. And now we can put this beautiful new stone floor in the aisles and in the entryways. And I think it's going to just be really beautiful, really beautiful. So that's a wonderful thing. Ah, boy. Oh, excuse me. So today normally Mondays are usually busy days, and this was no exception. And in the past, usually by about 8 o'clock, 7:30, I'm already going down for the count. I'm going inverted. So, but tonight felt a little surge of energy, and I thought, it's probably important that I try to make a video. I don't know if I'm going to be. I know for a while there I was making kind of a lot of videos one after the other, and I think people started getting tired of the content, so maybe go back to making a video like once a month, maybe twice a month, but we'll see. But anyway, yeah, it's as much as I like making the videos, and right now I'm blessed with a little bit extra energy. Don't know why, but I am, and I like making it. Like I said, I like making videos. But at the same time, I feel like, well, if the content's getting kind of old and boring, maybe I'll think about kind of backing off just a little bit, so I don't become too frequent, I guess. So, but anyway, life is going pretty good. I'm just trying to think. There was a couple of current events I want to talk about. One in particular. But I think I had like 2, maybe 3, and I can't remember the other 2. I've just been, excuse me, focusing on the one. Made a special little meme out of one of them, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, I guess. Maybe that's all I'll do. Just make another little short video, maybe a 30-minute video, and just say what I need to say and get on with it and move on to the next one. Yeah. But I knew I had some other things I wanted to talk about. I know I wanted to talk about, kind of like springtime and the renovation. Those are important things up here. Yeah, I think I've already said it though, so I won't repeat myself. But let's see here. Well, okay, I guess I'll just get on with it. Hey, why not? Oh, there was one little thing I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about. Had some folks that are struggling in their lives, and there's people that I watch on YouTube, and they kind of struggle from time to time, and they're not afraid to share their struggles, and I admire that. I even kind of get a sense of I really like the fact when people share their setbacks and even failures, and I kind of think, well, it's not, now some people might judge them and say, well, you didn't do it the right way, or whether, and this is a couple of people that are into the diet and fitness areas, and actually the one guy kind of I wouldn't say he snookered people, but he kind of led people to believe something that wasn't quite accurate. I wouldn't say it wasn't truthful. It was truthful, but he led people to conclude a false, erroneous conclusion. But still, he had to kind of go through a little bit of a setback. And I thought, well, there's a difference between failure and quitting. And I think a lot of us, myself included, if we fail at something, chances are we quit. We just say, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. It doesn't work, or I can't do this. And I think that's the fine line between being a failure and a quitter. Because you can fail at something, but if you quit, then you are done. A lot of times, and I had this happen to me in college once. I don't know exactly why it happened, but it did, and I was, kind of stymied. I was like, well, what did I do wrong? It's like I thought, well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and somehow I just didn't get this one concept. It was actually called Concepts of Mathematics. And it's, not just 2 + 2 = 4, but why does 2 + 2 = 4? Now, don't ask me to tell you this big $64,000 secret in question, because I couldn't tell you now. But I remember it was just a very interesting class. And for some reason, I thought I understood the concepts. And I think I got a D in that class. And I had to get at least a C or better for my grade point average and all that stuff. And I remember I took that class twice. The second time I got a B in it, but in the German, the teacher was this German lady, and she was a big, buxom, middle-aged woman, and she kind of came across like an Auschwitz matron, You will do this or else. You and your tiny little minds. I remember she kept using that phrase. The reason why you do not understand is you have a tiny little mind. And I went, okay, if you say so, I wasn't going to argue with her. I was afraid she'd slap me and send me to the concentration camp or something, But anyway, so I took the class again because I wanted to get a better grade. And I also wanted to understand what it was that I wasn't just, so. But if I had quit, I think I don't think I actually failed the class. But I certainly didn't get the passing grade that I wanted. And so I kind of went back, and I think she was a little bit surprised, like, what are you doing here? You didn't make it, I was like, I said, well, I want to try again. And I remember I took that class twice, and second time I did okay. It's like, okay. Sometimes, you just have to see something through, and, once the penny drops, you go, okay, all right. So, but if I had quit, then I really would have been a true failure. So, I don't know why. I was thinking about that last week. I was talking, there was one of my YouTube guys that I really like a lot, It's Sky guy, video content creator. Really like his work. He's just very positive, very energetic, very creative. And, and he was kind of sharing some of his difficulties in his life, and I kind of started thinking about, well, there's a difference between being a failure and a quitter. And I don't know. I think it's okay to fail at something. In fact, I was a part of a CrossFit gym about 10 years ago, and you walk in and it said, achieve failure. Achieve failure? Yeah, it means that if you know your weaknesses, then the only thing that you can do is improve on those. But you have to know what they are in order to improve on them. So that concept of achieve failure, or the difference between a failure and a quitter, is significant. So don't be a quitter, even if you fail at something. If something doesn't go your way, because then you really do. You're a loser then. So if you fail at something and you quit, then you're a real loser. Okay, there we go. Okay. Heard it here first, folks. Okay. Okay. So I want to talk about something that is kind of controversial. And I think OJ Simpson passed away about a week or so ago, right? And I guess certainly we all know, I mean, the guy, what a guy. I mean, his early career was phenomenal. I mean, the guy was a failure when it came to receiving. You know, he was a terrible receiver. But man, as a running back, that guy, well, number 32, you know, took the show. And but anyway, but unfortunately, the last thing I heard of him was a couple of years ago. He was here in Nevada, I guess, and he went to some memorabilia thing, and he got into an altercation with somebody and started either punching people out or trying to steal things. I don't know all the particulars because I just after the Nicole Simpson, Ron Brown trial, I just kind of like, you know, I kind of like checked out with OJ. You know, it's like, well, the guy, you know, whether you believe he did it or he didn't do it, the fact is, and I'm going to talk about this, is the whole trial to me was pretty much it was all political. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, I saw this documentary the other night, about a five episode, hour and a half each episode. I mean, it's like, you know, 9 hours of, you know, video on Netflix, of course, so you can binge watch it. You know, that's what we do on Netflix, is we binge watch things. And I have to say, it was, for the most part, I felt, you know, some people, if you've seen the video or the documentary, you might go, no, I thought that was terrible and it was one-sided and everything. Well, I don't know. To me, it seemed like they were really trying to make an effort to be objective. Yeah, you had people that thought he was innocent, and you had people that thought he was as guilty as sin. And they kind of, do I dare say, balance out. Wow. You know, you didn't come away with one, yeah, the guy is a dirtbag and he needs to burn in hell for the rest of his life, or, you know, he was innocent as the day is the driven snow kind of thing. And they had a lot of people that knew him. I think his agent was there. He had all the people in his legal team that was there. He had the people from obviously the opposing legal team. You had people from his childhood. You had people from the neighborhood, people that knew him when, and all this stuff. So it was really, I think, very insightful. It was intriguing to be sure. But again, you know, the early years of OJ Simpson was just amazing. That guy was a true athlete. Although, again, he wasn't a receiver. He had to, you know, he found his niche in being able to run the ball, and that guy could run. And, you know, you felt really good to see those younger years and how he just, wow, he just transcended everything, and everybody loved him, you know. And even after the murders, you know, people said they had a hard time being mad at him because he's so charming, and you know. So, and they showed a couple of people that were interviewing him, and you know, and he just came across, you know, he just had charisma that, you know, wouldn't stop, you know, even in his later years. Towards the very end, though, he kind of got beat up because all the drinking and drugging and, you know, chasing the skirts and all that. He burned himself out. But then I guess he went to prison for 5 years, maybe 7 years. I can't remember now. Anyway, but again, he passed away, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, roughly. Anyway, but just recently. But so I got to say, when it got into the actual trial of OJ, that part really chapped my hide, because when I was living through that back in the 90s, you know, I kept thinking to myself, well, it seems like there's two different things going on here. There's the trial, the murder trial, and there's something else going on here. it seemed like they kept talking about the race issue, and I'm going, well, I'm sorry, but what does that really have to do with the murder of two people? The murder of two people kind of kept getting obscured. I felt, and every time now when they would kind of go back to the actual trial and the evidence, you go, wow, I mean, the guy's guilty. He did it. Sorry. I mean, he was a wonderful celebrity and an athlete and a sports star, but hey, people are people, and sometimes they do horrendous things, no matter how famous they are or how charming and charismatic they are. People still, make decisions to hurt other people, and the evidence shows that he did that. At least that's what I was thinking. And I'll never forget, I was saying a mass at a rest home, and I guess the little people were either, it was just before I said mass or it was right after, and they turned on the TV. I can't remember, but I do remember I was just standing there and I was listening along with everybody else, and I was like, and they said he was innocent or he was acquitted, and I'm like going, how did that happen? I mean, the evidence I thought clearly showed that he was guilty. And but apparently I wasn't seeing the other side of that coin, and apparently it, and again, I remember this documentary, one of the lawyers for the prosecution, Chris Dryden, I think it was, or Drayden or something. He was a black man, and he said it, and then Johnny Cochran denied it, and then Marcia Clark confirmed it when she said, well, this whole trial was all about the N-word. Yeah. All about the N-word. Can't say the N-word. No, sir. No, ma'am. Can't say that N-word. And the N-word was Nicole. And I really think that it really became, had nothing to do, I mean, Nicole Brown and Ron Brown and Nicole Simpson, that was like an afterthought. That was the sideshow. The real person on trial wasn't OJ Simpson. It was the race card. And in fact, what was his name? Not Kardashian. And I was trying to get all these lawyers. There was F. Lee Bailey. Shapiro. Yeah, Robert Shapiro apparently was talking to Barbara Walters right after the verdict. They were that same day, that same night, or the next day, and she said, hey, you said it wasn't going to be about race, and Barbara Walters said it was anything but. It was about race. And Shapiro said, yep, you're right. And we dealed it from the bottom of the deck. And so to me, that was wrong. And again, they kept trying to bring up, again, I understand that there are people that grow up in poverty. There are people that are oppressed. There are people that are, oppressed, I guess. They're maybe they feel that they don't have the same breaks as, people like the Kardashians and the Shapiros and the F. Lee Baileys and the OJ Simpsons. But again, I'm a person that came from poverty, but I never thought that somehow, it was, it's sort of like, well, okay, that's, not everybody's born with a golden or silver spoon in their mouth, but you can make a way for yourself in this life. I mean, O.J. Simpson does. Yes, he was born into poverty, but apparently he had a good mother, maybe a good grandmother, I think. I can't remember the whole story, but they kind of, they got him from joining the gangs on the streets, and they got him, to focus on positive things and, not try to find the easy way out, not trying to blame other people for your situation, but trying to better yourself with whatever means you can. Find your talents, Again, let's look at it this way. If they thought, well, he's going to be a receiver, and they tried to play him as a receiver, he would have been a failure. Not a quitter, but he was not, that was not his gift. But yet they found that this guy can run. And boy, could he run. And so they said it was the difference between the two coaches. The first coach that he had was trying to play him as a receiver, and he was a failure. But the next coach came in, believed more in a running game, and that's where he shone. That's where he just really, the cream came to the top, man. So, but anyway, I think a lot of people, again, I'm not faulting people for feeling like, okay, yeah. Now, the LAPD, I don't know what was going on with those folks. Racism, yeah, there are people that are racists, but a lot of times, I watch a lot of these police videos, and sometimes, if you don't know the whole story and they just show you certain clips, it looks like, yeah, raw racism or raw, brutality, And I'm not trying to make light of the Rodney King thing, but basically what happened was just as wrong with the OJ trial when those jurors this is what really it got down into my gut, and it just made me sick. They just said basically, yeah, it's all about racism. We don't care if he's guilty or not. We're going to acquit him because that's what we're going to do. It's like a payback thing. And they had like 3 or 4 of those jurors, and they said, yeah, it's kind of like payback for Rodney King. It's kind of like you've been oppressing us all these decades and everything. So you know what? Screw you guys, big time. And the sad, the sickening part is that was not a true trial. And now later, of course, the family went back. The Goldsmiths or the Goldmans, they sued OJ in civil court, and they won. They used the evidence primarily from the first trial, the criminal trial, and they apparently they didn't do a whole lot of adding to it or reformulating the trial. They just used the evidence that they had, and they brought it forth again in a civil trial. And they won hands down. I think that was a unanimous jury that they said that he was guilty, and he owed this family money. $33 million. I think it was when it was all said and done. But anyway, I just think that it was wrong for them to turn it into a race thing when the real justice demanded that he be tried. OJ Simpson be tried, not the concept of racism. And that's what it got boiled down to. That's what it became. And some of those jurors, I feel like if I were you, I'd be ashamed of what you, because the one lady said, well, yeah, it was about racism and we needed to go home. We were done with this. They'd been there for like 267 days, I guess, but they only deliberated for like 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. That was it. It's like, okay, let's call lunch now. We're done, because it wasn't about OJ's, it wasn't really about a murder trial. It was about a race trial, racism. And that's not justice. That's all I will say. That was not real justice. And it's sad. It's really sad because, those people, eventually they got some form of justice, but anyway, it just turned ugly. And, we see this happening more and more in our country every day. It seems like that people that just, they feel maybe they've been oppressed or they've been, misjudged or whatever, or put upon, and instead of kind of, one of the things about OJ that I did like, I think a little bit about, and again, it's kind of funny, and people said it in different ways, but, they would say, and even OJ said it himself, he says, I got beyond that racial thing. I didn't want any part of that. I just wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be a celebrity. I wanted to be OJ, and then if he hadn't had, done the murders, I think the evidence was clear back in 1994, and I think it's even more clear now that he did commit those murders, as tragic as that is. But had he not done that, I think he would have been a very beloved celebrity until the day he died. He would have been, revered as a great athlete. I mean, he was. That's where the rub is. Here's a person who had this great athletic talent, and not just athletic talent, but this, charisma and buckets. And, he seemed to, and he apparently, from some of the things that other people said, he was in some ways a very philanthropic guy. He was very generous with his time. He gave a lot of money away to people that were in need. Okay, again, I'm just saying that's, and again, I think that's true too. But, unfortunately, his temper got the better of him, and he committed these horrible acts. He committed these crimes. And it's just a real tragedy that this very talented, charismatic, likable, nice-looking guy, golly, even in his, before he kind of got all into his indulgences with booze and alcohol and drugs. I guess he was doing some kind of drugs, I don't know, but he certainly was drinking and carousing, and he just was crazy. He got crazy. And I don't know, he lost himself, I think, towards the end there. And then he realized that he was losing it. And instead of maybe trying to redeem himself in some way, he just started grasping for his past, whatever, and it just didn't work for him. So it's tragedy. It really is a tragedy. It's sad for so many people. His own little kids, apparently now they don't even have their dad now, and he's gone. But again, they're not little kids anymore. They're probably in their mid 30s, I guess, late 20s, mid 30s, roughly. But wow, what a sad story. But anyway, tell me what you think. I know some of you watch the videos, I think, are law enforcement, and maybe you have a different take. Maybe you see the same thing I do. Maybe I'm missing a lot of things. Again, I guess it's not politically correct. It's not part of the new woke cancel culture to say this, but Martin Luther King, and I grew up during that time, and I know I've kind of touched on this before in the few videos I've talked about in the last year, that and OJ said the same thing. I guess race was kind of like if you want to say colorblind or neutral. It wasn't something he wanted to focus on. And a lot of people felt that was the right thing. Let's not look at your skin. Let's just look at your character. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I don't care what color a person is. A lot of the people that I guess I watch on YouTube, or 50% of them are black people that I think are awesome people. I think they have great content, and I learn an awful lot from them. And I don't stop and go, well, that's a black guy or that's a black girl. I ain't going to watch them. It's like, I wouldn't even think that. It's like, that doesn't even make sense to me. But I stop and think about it. There's a lot of people that I enjoy, and I love their content. I make comments, and some of them they just happen to have darker skin than I do. That's all, but it's not something I focus on. I'm trying to, if I watch them, I'm trying to maybe learn something. I'm trying to get some information, trying to maybe a little bit of entertainment, kind of fun stuff too, like, oh, I never thought of doing something like that. A lot of the people that I watch, they do a lot of reviews on tech stuff, and because I'm always in the neighborhood for something interesting, whether it's new lighting or new microphones or new cameras, and a lot of the people that I watch, they do reviews. And they do great reviews. It's like, wow, that was really informing. I liked that review. That was a good review. But unfortunately, maybe there are some people out there that are still, judging people by their skin color. I don't know. It's not my place to say, except, I'm accountable for me. You're accountable for you. And I think you should treat everybody with respect. You may not agree with everybody. I get a few people from time to time say, I like your videos, but I don't agree with you and some of the things you say. That's okay. You don't have to. That's a big secret. You don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't have to agree with everything you say or believe either. But we can still, share stories and information and, maybe a pipe or two. Okay, well, I guess I'm done with this video. Thank you so much for taking time out to watch the old Padre tonight. I just want to say, I guess, in closing, that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a lot of things in my life. I've been telling people the last couple weeks and months that and I don't know why this is, but I feel like I got a brand new lease on life. My back doesn't hurt anymore. I just don't have some of the aches and pains that I used to have. Now, it could very well be that, up until just a couple of weeks ago, I was on this carnivore diet that I shared with you, and also some intermittent fasting. And I did that for about 6 weeks. And then the last 3 weeks, I've kind of, when I say fallen off of it, not radically, it's just that hadn't been up until today kind of like really being dedicated and accountable for, okay, I don't need to be eating, chocolate cakes and, those other things, pizzas. One of the things, though, that's problem has been a little bit challenging is that with all the workers, sometimes we do buy pizzas, or maybe, my project manager says, hey, let's go out and we need to go look at this. Hey, let's stop and get something to eat. Would you like to get something to eat? So I feel like I want to, treat them, so it's like, oh, I'm not going to eat that, But so I'm kind of like, well, I really don't want to eat that, but I'll eat it to be sociable. So I've been kind of doing more like social instead of social drinking, social eating. So, which means I eat things that I really shouldn't be eating, and I know it, and it's not like I want it. It's just like I'm trying to be polite. So anyway, but life is good, and spring is here. The refurbishment of the church is going forward. It's steadily going forward. We've had a couple of little hiccups along the way, but I think like I said, we just started putting the stone down. That's a big step, and I think that will be done maybe by next week, which would be amazing. And then we put the carpet down, and then we start trying to put things back. We still got to do the altar. We ordered the stone for that altar. It's going to be beautiful. Right now we have a little. I mean, it's humble. It's beautiful, but it's a little plywood altar, and the mass should be celebrated on something a little more substantial, something a little more noble, and a stone altar would be just the thing. So, in for a penny, in for a pound. So I'm really looking forward to now we're going to finish one side first because we have weddings coming up. I have a dear friend who says, remember, May 25th, and so we're all trying to keep this one person happy because it's all about them and their weddings. But anyway, but that's that. I've been told by our dear project manager guy that he thinks we're going to be not only on schedule, maybe even a little bit finishing up a little bit early, so things can be really secured and we don't have to worry about it. It'll be beautiful. Then the other side of the church will be done, and that's actually going to go pretty quick because it's just one aisle that they have to stone, and then they put the carpet down, put the pews back in, and Bob's your uncle. So yeah, it's going to be nice. Okay, thanks so much for taking the time to watch Old Holy Smoke My Padre. Again, as I like to say from time to time, light up your world and light up your pipe. We'll see you all in the next one. Take care.